whoever said that short-term rentals are passive was completely lying.
Right. Totally.
And then there's long-term rentals. We have one long-term rental, and we cash flow, $600 a month on it, which sounds really great. But we
Mhm.
also bought that in 2015.
Yeah.
So we got in early. But if you're investing today in 2025, it's really hard to cash flow on a property, and it's really hard to find a way to invest in real estate that makes sense. And for a lot of people, short-term rentals is far too much work.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Vivian Yip, who's an ex-Apple iPhone program manager who got into the world of real estate, and now she's a real estate entrepreneur and investor and property manager as well. We have a lot to talk about. She does a lot within the industry. So thank you so much for being here, Vivian.
Thanks, Kristen.
So let's start at the beginning. You were at Apple working really hard. Tell us about what that experience was like and what made you transfer into real estate.
Well, I had a really great career at Apple. I spent almost 7 years there. My last position was a program manager, but I was really excited about working in a startup environment, even though it wasn't a startup, but it was a startup environment, worked with some really, really brilliant people. I was able to actively engage in some major continuous innovation projects, and it was all wonderful until probably we started running into a ton of supply chain issues. My team was responsible for the execution of the logistics of iPhones. So as you can imagine, there are supply chain issues all over the world.
Right.
Apple was not neutral to it, right? We had our own set of problems then. And that is when I decided that I needed to get out of corporate. It wasn't giving me joy anymore.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine that's a really stressful job.
Totally stressful. And my body started giving me signs to quit my job. And I'm forever grateful that while I was working in corporate, that I invested my money into real estate. And when the moment came to decide to pivot, I was able to do so without a ton of hesitation at all.
That's amazing. So you already kind of built this on the side and knew that you enjoyed it and were good at it. So you were able to just kind of make the full leap.
Correct. I mean, my husband and I, we were flipping houses at the same time we were flipping houses in order to try and keep some of them, which we did. And over time, we realized that real estate could potentially replace our corporate jobs, and we could free up our time, be in control, and not have to worry about asking for another day off. That was really the big thing for me, because I think that life is worth living and exploring. I love to travel. I love to see the world. And I hated that in corporate, you get 2-3 weeks maximum. It wasn't enough.
Yeah. And real estate, I mean, it's definitely a stressful job, and it's it takes up a lot of time as well. But if you're loving doing it, I mean, you really do have to love this industry to be in it. If you love it, it doesn't feel like a lot of work.
Correct.
So then you founded Hestia 360, which is a property management company. How did you kind of get into property management?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Well, as I was quitting my job at Apple and acquiring more properties, it's very hard to cash flow in Austin where I live. And I started exploring the furnished rental model. I started with a short-term rental, and when the pandemic hit, I accidentally pivoted into midterm rentals, found success in that.
Right.
Then I end up lo and behold, I'm now with 7 midterm rentals. And over time, people started realizing that I was specializing in this space, and people started asking me to co-host. So I started co-hosting, and then people asked me to do more things. And I was like, well, that's more like a property management role, because there's clear divide between what you can do as a co-host versus a property manager. And I found myself saying no to so many opportunities that it didn't sit well with me. So then I read a book called Who Not How, and I was like, okay, I have to open up my mind and stop saying no and maybe just say yes, but figure out who can help me. And that's when I partnered with my real estate broker. I became a licensed realtor, partnered with my real estate broker who already has a long-term rental property management company. And I asked her if she would partner with me to make this happen. And she said, absolutely. So that became the birth of Hestia 360. And now we property manage about 30 properties all across Austin.
Yeah.
And it's been really great because it allows me to have a lot more visibility and pulse into the strategy in my market.
Mm-hmm. And talk more about the opportunity with midterm rentals and what makes it such a good investment opportunity.
There's so many reasons. Where do I start? First of all, I started with short-term rentals, and I only did short-term rentals for about 6 to 7 months before the pandemic hit, and I switched to midterm. And I can tell you, after 7 months, I was already feeling burnt out. There was just so much work involved in short-term rentals between guest check-in, messaging, turnovers, chasing your cleaners, restocking things. I was like, holy smokes, whoever said that short-term rentals are passive was completely lying.
Right. Totally.
And then there's long-term rentals. We have one long-term rental, and we cash flow, $600 a month on it, which sounds really great. But we also bought that in 2015.
Yeah.
So we got in early. But if you're investing today in 2025, it's really hard to cash flow on a property, and it's really hard to find a way to invest in real estate that makes sense. And for a lot of people, short-term rentals is far too much work. They don't have time. They don't have the interest in hospitality, or long-term rental numbers just don't pan out. Midterm rentals to me is a really great way as a fine balance between the two. And I love it because when I was able to expand and scale my own personal portfolio, I made it a regular paycheck for myself. I found ways to get consistent income month after month. And instead of relying on a company to give me paychecks, I end up giving myself a paycheck.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I do think that midterm rentals are such a good opportunity right now. And what would you constitute as a midterm rental? Like, what are the kind of the parameters that you would say make it?
In most markets, it's defined, anything that's defined as not a short-term rental. So there's people are like, well, what's a midterm rental? There's no legal or city definition of a midterm rental. You're either a short-term rental or you're a long-term rental. So midterm rental is a strategy. Legally speaking, it's short-term rental or long-term rental. So in most markets, it's 30 days and more. Some markets, it's
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
28 days and more, but I just came back from DC and I found out that long-term rentals start at 60 days and more, which I was surprised at.
Yeah, interesting. And I'm sure each area has their own regulations with these rentals,
Correct.
especially as it pertains to Airbnb. Can you talk about kind of those challenges?
The challenges with short-term rentals or midterm rentals?
Just with, being on Airbnb, how, just the legalities around these rentals in general with them.
Yeah, I think the biggest obstacle for real estate investors isn't the city rules for midterm rentals. It's more about the HOA regulations that occur. Some people buy properties and they become accidental landlords. Maybe their life changes or they have a life event, like something that happens where they become accidental landlords and they want to turn their property into an investment property that cash flows through the midterm rental strategy. And a lot of obstacles people run into is an HOA, and that HOA may say that they can only do 30 days only, or sometimes they'll say they can only do 90 days or 6 months. And that can be a huge deterrent to being able to operate this furnished rental model. But that's not to say it's not possible. There's different ways you can write the leases. Some HOAs are smarter than others and will catch that.
Yeah. And from the property management side, do you work predominantly with midterm rentals?
We work predominantly with midterm rentals. A lot of our properties, however, are able to straddle the hybrid strategy. So we attract the midterm rental guests, but we fill in the gaps with short-term stays.
Awesome. I mean, that's a really great service. Can you talk about, I think a lot of people kind of think property management might be one size fits all. Can you talk about why, working with you and working with a company of your size might be the better option for people?
I think that, and this is totally biased, but midterm rentals, a lot of it has to do with relationships.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with relationships and understanding how the strategy works. Because if you're a short-term rental property manager, you're so focused on filling the calendar in the future with short stays because that's how you get a pulse on the upcoming events and the popularity of your listing. Whereas in midterm rentals, it's really more about being positioned properly, having your calendar open so that people, maybe if they had a flood or they had a fire or they're relocating or on a work project, they need a place for 5 to 6 months at a time. How are they supposed to book your place if you're running a short-term rental model calendar? So number one, it's really important to hire a property management company that understands how to execute this specific strategy.
Right.
And number two, it's really about having relationships as well, because a lot of midterm rental bookings can come through direct bookings, and knowing the different avenues to get direct bookings, whether it's having relationships with local companies that bring in employees or having relationships with the insurance companies that use furnished rentals. And then also having a really great network of other homes that are available so that if your property's not available, you can refer to somebody else.
Right. Absolutely. And that kind of brings us to your next entrepreneurial endeavor, which is CRUHomes, which I know you're really excited about, and I'm excited for you to share more about it.
So for the last 2 years, I actually ran the company as Corporate Rentals USA. And as you can imagine, answering the phone and saying, "Hello, Corporate Rentals USA" was a huge mouthful. So we actually rebranded in July to CRUHomes, which is an short for Corporate Rentals USA. So CRUHomes.com, we basically have created our own network of Airbnb investors that want to attract these midterm stays, because at the end of the day, we get requests for housing all over Texas, all over California, all over the nation. So being able to find you easily is why we built our B2B platform. So you can create your own listing on our website. It needs to be a furnished rental. We prefer that you have professional photos because we prefer single family homes as well. But ideally, it's a way for us to find you if we have a match. So we'll reach out to you, confirm all the terms and conditions of your property, and we'll bring you a corporate client when there's a need.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Amazing. And talk about kind of like why it's challenging to do that on Airbnb like itself.
Because number one, Airbnb cloaks the owner information. So if say, for instance, I get a request for somewhere in Southern California. We talked about Huntington Beach before this, right? And if I don't have someone in my network in Huntington Beach, then I might reach out to a property that I find on Airbnb. But then I have to try and communicate on the Airbnb platform, and that's really inconvenient and very difficult. Rather than try and take someone off platform from the Airbnb app, it's really for me about building a relationship with the owner on my own platform.
Yeah.
And
And
that way I can easily find them.
yeah, and you can focus on midterm rentals as well. You're not getting booked up
Yeah.
in the short term.
Yeah. And then, sometimes, like, for instance, if you are on Airbnb and you might have a booking for, let's say, Halloween, which is coming up, but the rest of your calendar is empty and you're just dying for a booking. But somehow, Kristen, I got a request for Huntington Beach. I look up your property, I reach out to you, and you say, you know what? I'm willing to make other accommodations for my current guest that's booked. I would love a 6-month stay with you. That's really the power of it, is being able for us to reach out to you and giving you an opportunity to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, this is really exciting. So, how did you go about even building this platform? I feel like that's a big undertaking.
Oh, it's been a big journey.
Yeah.
It's been a really big journey. So I have a pretty entrepreneurial background, and I've dabbled over the years between WordPress and Wix websites and all these different things. And when I started my first instance of a website back in 2023, I had a WordPress website, but it just didn't do what I needed it to do. My business model was different because over time you discover things that are working or aren't working and you pivot. So it was a WordPress website, but there wasn't any capability for someone to self onboard. It was really reliant on our team to do that. And so I spent over a year trying to figure out what would be the next right thing. And finally, I started making the implementation of the new platform starting in February this year. And then we went live in July.
That's so exciting. And then what are your
So
Yeah.
it's hard because I'm like CEO, CFO, TO, all the things. And it's a lonely journey, but I feel like we're on the right path now. And I'm really excited because anybody can self onboard their property. And it just makes it really easy for us to grab the inventory that we need to support all the requests that we get.
Absolutely. And what's some advice that maybe you can give to people about building something from scratch? Maybe something you wish you knew at the beginning.
There's so many things. I think that if you're going to run into, so I have a lot of people that want to transition from long-term rentals into midterm rentals purely because they're like, what? I can make 2 times more money than long-term rentals. And my first question to you is, do you want to be in the hospitality business? Because that could mean phone calls or issues at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. If a guest shows up late because their flight was canceled, do you have your locks automated or do you have a key box? Are you available to answer questions when the guest needs you? That's like the first test. If that makes you cringe, you're probably going to stay in the long-term space.
Right.
The second thing is, are you in it for the hospitality? Are you going to go and furnish your property with all this used stuff from grandma's house
Right.
and just put furniture in it? Or are you really into the business for building a haven for someone to stay in for a while? I really believe in standards for this space, which is why we have a certification process. So we don't just move anybody into your property. Before we move someone in, we actually have an inspector that comes in just to make sure your dishwasher works, your washer and dryer works, the lights are clean, the fans work, the Wi-Fi is workable, the security works, like not security, but like the locks work. We've taken corporate housing standards into the Airbnb space. So before we move a guest in, we send an inspector to go through this inspection checkpoint just to make sure that we're bringing the guest into a reliable space that they're going to be happy with because they're going to sign on for a 3-4 month lease. maybe even a 9-month lease, we want to make sure we iron out all the issues at the forefront before they move in and not have them worry about moving from one problem into another. Like a lot of our guests, they've had to move out of their homes because of water damage or they had a fire. It's super, super traumatic for them. And can you imagine if your house just burnt down and now you move into someone's Airbnb and it's garbage. It hasn't been maintained. The lights are burnt out. The fences are all broken. That just doesn't feel good to me. I want to make sure that when I bring in a guest into your furnished rental, that it's going to pass the sniff test.
Yeah.
And then we move in. So that is our Hestia certification, which is the foundation of what Hestia 360 is about. But Hestia is a Greek goddess of hospitality, hearth, and home.
That. No, those are great. It's kind of like a good checklist to, pulse check yourself, because I think, as you said, a lot of people are really interested in the money of it, but you have to be interested in the whole picture of it for it to be successful.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you've given such great advice on midterm rentals, and I'm so excited to see where CRUHomes goes. Tell everybody where to find you, where to find both of your companies.
Sure. If you'd like full service property management in Austin, Texas, it's Hestia360.com. That's HESTIA360.com. If you are interested in joining my network, it is CRUHomes.com. That's CRUHomes.com. And if you're interested in learning about the strategy and get coaching from me directly on the midterm rental strategy, you can find me at VivianYip.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, Vivian.
Thanks, Kristen. I was really excited to join the show today.
Amazing. Well, thank you everybody for listening. I hope you learned a lot, and please follow Vivian and everything she's up to, and we will see you back next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.